All right. Good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrading.com. It is 9:18, September 18th, 9:12 in the morning here. Now, I have oil up because this is the market I'm currently uh, in, I have a position in, and we'll just follow the sequence out of these lows. So there was this sloppy halfway back long. We take the low of this range to um, the highs of what is September 10th. We fell all the way down into this 78% retracement here on Friday, rallied all the way back to the top of the range, and then this week, starting on Monday, Sunday night Monday, we began holding again that old 50% retracement. This week's highs are that target. Once we've completed that target, this next measured move should be a little more technical here, and thus far it has been. Last night we had one test of that 50% retracement. We had two tests of that 50% retracement. Then we came down and swept the low, still holding the 61, rallied all the way back above that midpoint, rallied all the way through the highs of the day, and now, just now, we have traded into the full halfway back from that low. Now, the upside profit target of this 63.30 support level is all the way up at 64.91. So we'll see what the reaction is out of the 63.63. That upside target technically takes us up into the prior day's high. And then if we can get through that, look for a continuation up in the 64.91s. But what I'm looking for here today is really just a move up to that 64.37. It would really get a push through. Maybe we can continue all the way up into the 64.75, but that's what I'm going to have here for the oil market currently long. My entry isn't even that great. It's like 63.72s, but I bought an extension. We ended up trading the traditional. They're within 10 ticks of one another. You also had some fair value gaps here and this consolidation area providing some support. Moving on to the gold market, most of the markets just got absolutely, just your standard FOMC move, rip through highs, new all-time high in gold, and then straight down through the lows of the day, taking out really anybody with a stop loss. One of the things there's been an interesting pattern here in gold, and this swing low for whatever reason, not something I typically see. Going back to September 4th, we saw this trade once to target. You can see that negative 100 of this draw actually literally just ticks the high. That same traditional, which it's not often that we get that same traditional to just trade again and again. Let me get rid of these studies. It'll be a little easier to see. But that same traditional here went ahead and tagged out on yesterday's highs. It tagged out on this high on Tuesday, September 9th. I added target. We tagged out yesterday on, and by tagging out, I'm kind of using cryptic messages. We basically completed the fib target and then just dumped from those levels all the way back down into, for whatever reason, again, that same level. Some of these, for whatever reason, programs have attached a buy sequence to the 50% retracement from the swing low of the session for September 4th. Coming out of that low, we staged a pretty strong rally. Um, we got a new high of the day, and now we have just traded that full 50% retracement as well around the same time that the ES got it, and that gives us an upside target of 37.16. And I still remain a hyper bull in gold. We continue to bid, 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 bid. Who knows where this thing's going to stop? I sure don't. But I do know when we put in supports, that in those, the evidence is shown, like, if you can see on this low here, we consolidated for like 30 plus minutes and then just a rally through highs of the day. This is our first pullback past that rally. I still want to see like a couple more ticks lower. I don't know if we're going to get it or not, but that 36.87 is going to be worth placing an alert on. And that's what I'm going to have here for gold. All right, moving on to, we're going to go to the indexes. are you? Now, I have these back on the continuous contract. I do not have adjust for contract changes as my setting, just so we're all looking at the same thing. Yesterday, I adjusted for contract changes. I dislike rollover for that reason because of just the way it makes the charts look. I'm like, should I use the, because sometimes we'll grab sequences from the contract we rolled into, and then and then a couple days later we'll revert to the continuous. And it looks like we've reverted to the continuous yesterday. I know Perry really mapped out a great reset to the high touch, but also the most recent hourly sequence that goes back to the 5th of September. Whatever happened on the 5th of September, that seems to be, an important level for all of the asset classes that we're trading here. This halfway back long traded on the 5th of September in the ES. We blew through our negative 22% profit target. Going into rollover, we blew through the negative 61. And then yesterday, and this is going to be the important stay above factor, the Friday high from the 5th to high is going to be a 66.20, 66.19. We really need to stay above that. That upside target very well could come into play here today. That's going to be a 67.34, 67.34. So we're going to just set an alert at that 67.34. And you can see that's where I got my premium level here. But coming out of the low, the bias here, Perry's talking about if we're looking to trade a continuation alongside, I'm going to point out what I think we need to hold. This was just, once again, a whip higher and then a whip lower and then another rip higher. The volatility, I was just after a couple stops, I was like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm not even touching this market. Really, really high speed. I mean, these bars are like some of them in 5 minutes, 30 points, way above the norm. And there's not really a clean, visible fib sequence here that I can truly see. I can go ahead and find one. So one of the things I will like when you have these moves, you really like don't know where the support is. It kind of just comes in and then you're like, oh, okay, that's where it is. And in this case, in the ES, you can only see it in hindsight. You get your first pullback here, and this is actually how you trade this. You get your first pullback, we make a new high. After you get this full pullback, you go in and you figure out where is the extension. In my opinion, then the extension was from this 255 high to high. Okay, once you see that play out and that we get that new high, then you know where the extension is and you can trade off of that level. You have a 38 retest here, a fair value gap retest here, and then that actually ends up going and completing all the way up to its negative 23% profit target, and that's where we left off. Now, if we are to draw that same anchor to high, that is going to be about the only thing that I'm going to be paying attention to once we open. Now, you could draw it all the way to this overnight high, and we have quite an extended overnight high, and you can see that 38% retracement is actually lined up with that upper mid, that orange line. There's been a little bit of a bid there, but what I want to do when we do open is draw this extension to whatever the RTH level is. Okay, whatever that RTH high is, and I'm just gonna draw it to like this high. Let's say we open here and we dump. That is what we need to, in my opinion, kind of stay and hold above to continue this sequence. This is like really like everything, we get these new highs and then we have a huge reversion lower. The volatility is going to be crazy here. You really need to pick your spots of where you think, sell-offs can start from. If we do rally, if we get up to that 67.33, I think a sell-off could start from there. That's going to be a profit target. Now, if we sell off immediately off the open and hold the extension that we're trading, that's going to be the continuation sequence I'm going to look for from the prior day. Okay, so right now I don't know what that level is. I will only know what that level is once the market opens and we can go ahead and do one of these and turn off that extended session. But until we can do that, I'm not going to have that exact sequence for you. Moving on to the NASDAQ, very similar here as far as the extension series goes. You have that September 5th, high to high. And that 50% retracement, it's what held. Okay, it's what held. And it's what should hold moving forward. If we get below that, we're going to have maybe that bigger sell off that Perry's talking about. That would be that confirmation I'm looking for myself. Now, the profit target of this extension going to be all the way up at 24,820s. So I'm going to set an alert at 24,820 above us. Okay, 24,820. I'm going to get rid of this one. Actually, there we go. What? Canceled both of them. And now I don't have the option to set an alert. Okay, we'll figure that out later. But moving to the intraday time frame here, the 5-minute time frame, same thing with the Nasdaq as with the ES. All that movement happens. It's a lot of it's really just quite. You really got to be picking your spots. But once we stick this 50 here and then make a new high, then I can go back and be like, oh, okay, what's the extension? What was the extension? But until that happens, there's just too much volatility to really trade this with any predictable anticipated levels. So in this case, it is the once again the 255 high, too high. You can see we traded, and only after we trade it, we make a new high. Can I go back and actually look and be like, oh, okay, can I identify an extension there? The answer is yes, and then you can trade the second test if you so please. That second test, you can see we react. That's what these programs do. They let the natural market patterns play out, and then they come in and they determine where they should buy based on those sequences. We run all the way to those targets, all the way to a negative 61 all night long. And then, there's no coincidence that I can identify the sequence and then in the morning, just like we did with the ES, pay attention to where we come down into. Now, the NASDAQ is much further ahead in its price range than the ES is. The 50% here in the NQ is going to line up with that prior day high. That 50% is a 24,550 roughly. So that is really going to be something you're going to want to pay attention to. 24,550 here today. And then in the slight chance that we get super aggressive, the NASDAQ this morning, as the ES traded that same anchor new high, and I'll just switch right over to what that looks like. Actually, don't have it on my screen, but it was right here, that 38. The NASDAQ is in a more aggressive series, trading the extension to extension. So that'll be interesting if the NASDAQ actually goes ahead and breaks down through that 24,613s, but expect a whole lot more volatility. We're up 200 points going to the open. Been a minute since we've seen that. The ATRs are going to be probably well above 80 points off the open in the first 15 minutes. We have probably some 80-point bars, I would imagine. And I'm going to just be picking specific levels. 24,550 is going to be that specific level for me right now in the NQ. It's going to line up with the prior day's high. It's going to line up with where is that? It's going to line up with the same anchor new high, 50% of the extension. And I think we're kind of a little too extended to be buying anything this high here. So that's what I got for these indexes right now. Like I said, I will get rid of the extended session for CES, and then I'll just have to draw that up once the time comes. But that is going to be it for me here in the trade plan. And then I'll jump on in like 10 minutes, keep this going, and we'll see what we got set up. I'm long CL still. And yeah, let me know what questions you guys have. Just looking at some things. Oh, there's gold. That's what just traded. Gold, what is going on here? So gold has just traded its anticipated supports. Let's see if we can get. I'm a little concerned about gold because it did come off this full halfway back short. So I want to look for confirmation in gold by breaking above this fair value gap. And if we can get that, then I'll look for like a micro entry. But this is the full halfway back. It's also lower mid. The battle between shorts and longs. I realize that you can't see it because my face is in the way. Can't move my face. Move my face over here. Move my face. Just trying to figure out if I stream, the best place for my face is. Ah, I never really read any books on fibs. I just burned my corneas staring at a screen. I think it's really hard to. I don't know, there's some things you can learn trading in a book, and there's some things that I at least find difficult to learn. Let's go. All right, let's put on the indexes here. There we go. There's that bell. And that is the wrong. This is what we're looking for. All right. We got our ES high in. What a little great top in reversal there in the NASDAQ ATR down right at that 830. And then just well above. Get that break. Oh, glad I didn't step out and buy gold just quite yet. That's just being aware that we came off of a short, wanting to see that confirmation. Spent a lot of time up on that short before rolling over. Want that gold order sitting out there, and then see we get back down those lows. Little new high for the ES. Drag that anchor up. Could be, Sean. This this short is a this short reaction is a big sign. Now that we've broken that long, it might be worth out of this last test. This is the entry. Gold opens 820. We trend bar up, reverse trend bar down. Fair value gap through a negative 100 into an extension. We have extensions now, extension shorts in gold from the swing low of 835 to low, and there's just a aggressive 8-point bar to the downside. I do think that is going to be the first, that extension short in gold is going to be the first thing I've witnessed here today off the open. That's a developing sequence that I'd be willing to trade. Yeah, we're going to take that same anchor new low when it trades. Pour myself a glass of orange juice. Nothing better than some fresh squeezed OJ. So the way I always think about it, you have like developing sequences, which are like sequences that develop as price action begins during the day. So like in this case with gold, we have like a micro short off the open, 820 off a higher time frame, going into extension, totally run to targets, ATRs increase. That's a developing sequence. And then you have like sequences where you know they're gonna trade, like they're following the prior day's the prior day's pattern. So like if we had a halfway back long to target that got bid on Wednesday and completed on Thursday, then Friday we have that next measured move. And you're gonna know that going into the open. But sometimes we don't know it. We gotta see the price action, right? And then seeing the price action, and you gotta figure out, all right, once you see the price action, what are you gonna take? And in this case, I want to take this gold short, which in the morning I was like, hey, I was looking at the long, but then I was like, saw the speed. I was like, nah, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And that was the call. Wait. And now we're going all the way down to the bottom of the range here. We have higher time frame targets that would potentially lead into 3650s. Let's see if we can pump it up on this oil. Nothing going on in the indexes so far. Not really exciting. Wow. Punisher. Punishing move in gold. Gold all the way at the overnight low. No entry. No entry outside of that extension. And then flip back to these indexes. Full steam ahead there on those shorts. ES actually had an extension short from the overnights, and Q had a halfway back. Below fair value gaps, you can see these trend bars to the downside. Red bar. That's what this bright red bar, I should say. Bright red bar. That's a trend bar. And gold new low of the day. We're going to go extension to extension there. Violent. Although I'm a little cautious of being that aggressive. Extension to extension. The same anchor new low in gold. 50% resistance is 82.4. Not even close to the pullback yet. And like I said, I got nothing really in the Nasdaq till 24,550s. You have a potential 38% retracement at 24,600s. Oh my goodness. I'm just watching this gold bar just growing. It's getting larger and larger. Almost a 30-point move in 15 minutes. And 100 points off from this morning's high in the NQ, just casually. We'll see if we get that same anchor new low in gold. It would be a 79.4 right now. So I'm going to put an order at that 50% or chasing of the same anchor new low in GC. Need a big, about a 15, almost 20 points off the low to get filled on that. There's the 38 of the NASDAQ draw to the overnight high so far, 24,600. This is what it looks like. Come on, oil. Heave. Kind of going nowhere there so far. Really need to get above 64s to probably catch the momentum on that train. Yeah, if we lose like this general area, go to an hourly chart in GC, there's a lot of support here. This is the area that if it gets lost, I mean, you could do this 1 minute time frame where push lower, fair value gap, reverse it, bid. Reaction from the 38 in the NASDAQ, 85 points. Guess we still got more juice. Wonder, okay, if I draw that ES anchor to the overnight high, I want to see what we pulled into. Pulled into the 50 of that. Looks like those anchors are getting taken overnight highs. I did not want to stretch out that much, but that is what they got taken to. I drew the Nasdaq to the overnight high, but I didn't draw the ES to it. The ES traded its 50%. And really moving forward then for the rest of the day, that's kind of, if that's what the market decides that it's going to hold, that's what we need to hold. You do have the untested 50 for the NQ, but that is right where we came to. Approaching my gold limit at 79. Second pass of the halfway back long for the day in CL. Another bid in CL. 10 ticks off the touch. GC. Seeing sellers at its 38 of the extension. First red bar came literally right to it. I'm just playing a continuation of this downside move here, Sean. It's the same anchor new low. I'm looking at the 50 though. It's also the middle of a multiple time frame fair value gap, but 15 minutes. Basically the dead center of this giant bar lower. This giant 15-minute bar, that the dead center of it is within a point or so of my limit. But you can see there was just sellers that reacted to that 38. We literally tagged it. I mean, we might not even get where I want us to get. I mean, right now, sellers just drove it about 6 points lower in 2 minutes from the lower, more aggressive extension. Gotta move my face, it's blocking. Here we go. Put me up here. Let's go back to these indexes. Volatility in those indexes. These bars. Scary. Rally all the way up from that full short. And this is what every day looked like during COVID, by the way. Every single day. right, we are a half an hour into the day. Pushing up. Only trade I've taken is oil. And just sitting in that. Been a lot of moves in these indexes. They're just like short scalpers. I mean, call them scalpers. They're just very fast. The time frame you're in these trades can be literally mostly less than 10 minutes. If you held anything wrong longer than 10 minutes today, you're right and then you're wrong. Or you're just wrong. But you're in and then you're out. You're in and then you're out. You're in and you're out. All right. Break. And I said I drew this short not because I wanted to take it in the Nasdaq, but just because I wanted to see we go. We had to watch this sequence out of lows. This extension is holding in the Nasdaq. Its upside target is still 24,821s, and the ES's upside target is still 6734. We're a little overbought in the overnight session. Got a reversion down into extensions. Extensions held, they held technically, and we're moving higher. Gold coming in. See if I can get a reaction. I'm not really looking to take this to target. I'm just kind of looking, I don't know, for maybe like 10 or 15 points ideally. And we'll see. I do want to see a full target through the prior day's high in oil if I can get it though. I need us to really get above 64s. Here comes goals. There we are. All right. Let's see where we go from here. I am now short this extension. The only thing that I don't like about this is it's coming off the higher time frame support. But no reason 83.8. I can move my stop down. I just basically have my default levels here. I'm just looking for like I said, I don't want to take this extension. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give it 25 minutes. If we just get slammed off of it, which definitely can happen, so we'll 10:05. I'll drag my order down, and then at 25 minutes, I'll make a judgment call based on the speed of the reaction. Oil also finally going my way. And then at 10:30, I'm gonna shut down the YouTube. My goal is with this is just to come in like be more vocal while I'm on and just on less amounts of time, and then come in towards the end of the day, probably just in the squawk, and see if there's just an end of day setup as opposed to just staring at the screen all day. Just come in more vocal while I'm on the mic, walking through what I'm thinking, answering the questions. My alarm, little timer. If you guys don't know, some of you guys have heard it before. I got a little timer. I got about 6 of these laying around my house. Set it for 25 minutes. And then when I get into trade, I hit it and I mark it up on my screen. And I see where we are. That's the only way you know to stay in a trade longer than you anticipated, is to just give it time. Because if we're ripping through a negative 23 within 25 minutes, unless there's like an upcoming news event, most likely we're going to continue to go that way. Most likely. And that's how you're going to get in those bigger trades. And if we do nothing in 25 minutes, probably going to be sitting around in that trade while. Sometimes I'll just take trades off because we're not doing anything and then come back, you know, you need a time session change or something of that sort. So far, I like what I see in GC. So far, I like what I see. Oh, sometimes I forget that this is blocking it. My face is blocking it. Just tagging it. Just nailing it. Just, oh, you're the high, baby. If you haven't had any fresh squeezed orange juice lately, I really recommend it. We got this grocery store in Chicago called Mariano's. Man, it's just like straight off the orange. Big fan. That's just like the nectar of the gods. That Minute Maid stuff is just gross. Does not do it justice. Who needs vitamins? You drink orange juice. It's the same. There we go. Trend bar in oil. Bing. Keep going, baby. Keep going. That's what I want to see. That big blue bar. You know what that means? It means we are we're at +5. So this 5 reading here, that means we're above VWAP, above leg start, above the swing mark, above the ATR. I think there's one more. Puppy Wap, like Sard, ATR, Swing Mark, ATRs. I think I counted 5. Kind of losing track here. Let's go oil. It'd be great if we could get an explosion in the price of oil. Despite my car having a 33-gallon gas tank, which becomes quite expensive to fill up for a car. I do not mind if oil goes up right now. If we start like peeking back at this GC entry, I'm just gonna cut it. We'll see though. I said I'd give it 25 minutes. I mean, my stop is like 5 points. So if I gotta eat 5 points, I gotta eat 5 points. I'm staying in the trade. Little bit of a megaphone pattern going on here in CL. They call this a bull flag. That is actually a perfect bull flag. I don't typically look at like those things to be honest, but that's a nice looking bull flag. I mean, that's like textbook. I'm gonna start tweeting bull flag so everybody buys. Get in the bull flag before you miss it. Oil will never be this low again. I'm trying to check the delay on my camera. Looks like it's a couple seconds. Because I'm watching myself, my feedback. It's about 2.5 seconds. Let's go oil. Perfect. Set some alerts on those higher time frame targets for CL. If we can push through 64.37s today, I'll be ecstatic. Could then be heading for, maybe even $66 level. Over some time. Here we go. Oh, that's funny. Above the I mean, we just got new highs today there in CL. Still got 15 minutes left on my GC timer. It's only been 10 minutes since I set that. Has a valid extension. Let me take a look at it. I The only time I really go to a 1 minute is because I can't see what's going on any other time frame. So one of the things we have here in the net, the Nasdaq, J Holmes, traditional, immediately to target. We go to target in 10 minutes. Anytime you go to target in 10 minutes, you can start drawing extensions because the speed at which we're moving in it is extreme. Um, so as soon as you complete that negative 23, you can draw that extension, yes. So if this is the extension you're referring to, yeah, I would say it's pretty darn valid. Or I mean, we haven't even come into it. Same thing with a ES. I mean, that's technically 5 minute, 1 minute. It's technically a 5 minute extension. It can be seen from a 5 minute chart, and that halfway back can be seen from a 5 minute chart. But I mean, semantics doesn't really matter. But yes, and then also you have a fair value gap there as well. When we have extensions that are super aggressive like this, I like to see this fair value gap. Give me another reason. Give me another reason. Am I not? Downside target. Oops. Blocking the view. Ugh. I think I actually overslept and I'm tired. Come on now. Wow. Moving my stop up in CL, I guess I could have done that a while ago. Put it above break even. Really shouldn't come back there. And if we do, it's a dull day. A dull day. Zoom in on. Come on, bull flag. Do your job. Do your job. Do it. You're getting fired. Getting fire you. Hire a different pattern. Good old clean expansionary move into a nice traditional with a two tests. Get above that. Here we go. Let's see. Gold looking good. Gold looking good. Oh, stretch. Wow, Intel up 25% today. Nvidia invested in them, I guess. Almost 10:30, which means my gold timer's almost up. So I got two choices after 25 minutes with my gold entry is one, take it off, or two, move my stop. We'll see where we're at. We'll see where we're at. Take it and run, or let me know if you guys have any questions after this first hour. I'm going to keep my Zoom up, keep sharing what I'm doing. I'm going to shut down this face. This face is going. And I'll jump back on. I'll make an announcement in the main trading room on the mic probably later today. For the close, ideally, we have something, some setup that we can talk about. See what them indexes are up to. We were just ripping. We're just ripping. No extension yet. Those extensions are, that is a wrong chart. Those extensions are valid when they trade. We've gone this 50 in the ES 6702 quarter. This NQ just keeps going. That's your next pullback. I don't know if we might only get the 38. Might only get the 38. 2 for 2 right now in the morning. Stops are going above break even or below, above or below. Wow, Intel. My goodness. If gold doesn't hold this low, boy, it's getting smoked. I am just gonna take this off though. I think it's getting smoked for 60 points if it doesn't hold this low. But there'll be a chance for me to get in. If we take out the 70% of the range, I mean, these indexes are just flying, so great if you're long. I am not. We need to get below 65s here. If GC loses 65s, man, I think we can get all the way down to like maybe 36, 37s today, maybe 36, 32s. This is a lot of stops would get hit. All of these, and then we're gonna go to that lower level. I have like a 36.41 actually below us. Oh my mooning. Who's anybody long his indexes? Anybody listening who? Do not short. Do not short. We are in a most aggressive series. Okay. All right, I'm taking this gold off for 7 points. Nothing crazy. Let's put something on the table though. Let's put some change in the pocket. Put some change in the pocket. If we start getting below 65s though, I'd be willing to get short again, but going out of the first hour, just want to, cash something. Just put that. Don't want to leave all my risk. There's my timer. So you guys will see my face tomorrow again. And I'll be on the squawk later after lunch. Good first hour though. 2 trades so far. Locked in one. The other one's still floating around out there, but I'm going to keep that one going. Ciao.